The Congress party may be besieged on multiple fronts, especially with Rahul Gandhi's disqualification from parliament. But the latest ABP C-Voter survey is forecasting a clear win for the party in Karnataka. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Our focus today is on the big Karnataka election, which is now just a few weeks away. Who will form the government? Well, according to the latest C-Voter survey, it is Advantage Congress. In fact, the opinion poll predicts a clear and comfortable victory for the Congress party. How do we understand this? Is it the factionalism within the BJP? What about the much wanted Modi factor that works in other states? Is this about Rahul Gandhi or is this about regional politics? How do we understand the numbers that we are seeing and the fact that such few people in this survey have actually given a thumbs up to the Bomai BJP government? There's a lot to unpack here if we look at these very, very interesting numbers. Of course, it's a health warning. This is an opinion poll. There's time to go and much can happen in the last mile before elections, and we're not even close to the last mile yet. But of course, politics is all about a dipstick test of the mood and changing as the mood changes. Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look ahead at the big Karnataka election. Joining us is veteran journalist B.S. Arun. Welcome to the program, sir. Also joining us from the Congress is Kavitha Reddy, the spokesperson of the party from Karnataka. Also joining us is our favorite psephologist, Yashwant Deshmukh. It's his survey that is forecasting a clear win, a comfortable win for the Congress as things stand today in Karnataka. And also joining us from the BJP is its senior leader and spokesperson, Mohan Vishwa. It's very good to see all of you. I must start, of course, with Yashwant Deshmukh. And first, I'm just going to give you, as they say, the last chapter of the story first, which is how the numbers at this point stack up for all the parties according to Yashwant Deshmukh's survey. So if we can bring up first how the seats stack up according to Yashwant, and I'll ask him to talk a little bit about the slide that we see on our screen. So Yashwant, it's over to you. Can we unmute Yashwant? Give me a
Which
second.
you are watching on the screen are not really new or surprising for me, because in our tracker, the lead of Congress has been there for more than a year now. And even in our India Today Mood of the Nation surveys for the last two rounds, we have clearly mentioned Karnataka, apart from Maharashtra and Bihar, as the key state where BJP is not doing well and they are going to face the music. So for us, the numbers are pretty secular, pretty stagnant, if I may say so, over the period of time. If only they have probably gone further in favor of the Congress by a notch. And from here onward, the next 6 weeks, we just need to see what happens, once the campaigning starts, and what happens with the infighting with the Congress, what happens with the JDS fortunes, if they are increasing or they are going down. These are the things which will decide whether it will be a clear majority for the Congress, or it might still end up as a hung, or with JDS as the kingmaker.
So Yashwant, before I open this up, you say that these are the numbers that, for a few months now, in fact, I know you've been talking about a clear advantage for the Congress, but I want you to give a big picture analysis of why a party that is besieged on multiple fronts in all other ways seems to be holding it together in the state of Karnataka.
Well, there are multiple reasons. Number one, Barkha, that the Congress rank and file or the infrastructure in Karnataka or in some other states is one of those states where it is still there, very much there, courtesy the strong regional and local level leaders. The biggest factor for the Karnataka Congress upswing is Siddaramaiah, because his image is quite good. He is extremely popular. Please remember, even 5 years back, when we predicted that Congress is losing and BJP is winning, even that point of time, Siddaramaiah's personal ratings were extremely high. He was not an unpopular, not really unpopular CM. It was the unpopularity of the MLAs, the government, and all the mantris and Sarkari Tantra that had taken the Congress, Siddaramaiah government down. Also, the fact that, that the absence of Mr. Yediyurappa, that is something kind of slightly hurting, but not to that extent. I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot, that I can firmly say that even if Mr. Yediyurappa would have continued as the chief minister, I think results would have still have been anti-BJP at this point of time due to the routine anti-incumbency. Yes, probably the gap would have been smaller. It would have been a much tighter race probably.
Okay, so it's very interesting that you bring up the Yediyurappa factor because usually state elections we talk about how the Modi factor trumped local factors. We don't see that necessarily going by your poll happening here. So a lot to talk about. But as we bring up Yashwant Deshmukh's first slide, and we can go back to it now, I want to bring in the BJP spokesperson on the program, Mohan Vishwa. Mohan, do you agree with the direction of these numbers? You may have some quibbles about the actual numbers, about you may have your own calculations. But Yashwant Deshmukh's survey is forecasting a clear sort of, first position for the Congress party. How do you see it, Mohanji?
Say, Barkha, the problem with these surveys are it's too early to say. First of all, the Congress have announced hardly 124 candidates. Okay, not entire 224. Second one, the BJP has not yet announced its candidate at all. And JDS, they've announced some 140 candidates. And the same we see voter survey last year gave majority for the Congress. Finally what happened in the results. They ended up getting 79 seats, where I think C-Voters gave some 118, 120. I don't remember exact numbers. Okay, so it's too early for this survey, and also the lot of other activities have happened in the recent trend, which has not been taken care by this survey. That's what I believe. The last week there was the major decision taken by our government by giving reservation to SC left and SC right and other, the Dalit Kedars, and also 2% increase in Lingayat and 2% increase in reservation for Ukalika community in the old Mysore region. So these factors play a key role for us. At the same time, please do remember every candidate will have his own vote share in the constituency. Please do remember that. So if you announce those candidates' names, obviously the numbers will absolutely change. I don't know when these surveys have been done and what is the sample size of this survey. See, we had other surveys also came on the same day. Z News, they gave a neck to neck for we and Congress. There was 95 for us, 91 for BJP. And also Times Now, they did a survey. There was a neck to neck fight. That was also should be taken into account, not only C-Voter, but as I told you earlier, these were too early because, forget about C-Voter, there are local regional channels which do day in, day out journalism reporting for all the three parties. Even they are doing a survey from yesterday. Today, the final output is supposed to come out. So once we see that, even I don't believe even those surveys also, because those are also early. As I told you earlier, it's too early. Let the candidate get decided. Post that only these surveys will have some sort of value. I think it's too early to say.
Okay, let me actually get Yashwant to just respond. Yes, Yashwant, I already see your hand going up, and I think the point being made is that other surveys predict a too close to call a sort of battle. It's too early. What was the sample size? These are all questions that I think you can answer. So, Yashwant, do go ahead.
Well, I don't want to comment on other surveys, Barkha. The only comment or the information piece which the honorable spokesperson said about our survey 5 years back, we were the only one to say that BJP was leading, falling few seats short of majority. We predicted 110 seats for the BJP, and that was a tracker for the TV9 Kannada that we do for them. That's the largest news channel in Kannada, and we have been doing for almost like 20 years with them over there. So, and by the way, we were the only one to say that BJP will be in the poll, single largest and near to the majority in the pre-poll surveys. So I'm just correcting that. Probably he is getting confusing ours with some other agency's number, and it can happen, no problem. It's just to put the record straight. Second thing, yes, it is too. I agree with him that it is too early in the game. Why I am confident with these numbers? Because even though it is too early in the game, if I have to do one-off survey right now, I can be less sure about it that, okay, I might have erred in something or doing something. But when we are doing the numbering every day, when we are doing the poll in our daily tracker, and if we are finding a trend which is in the same line for almost 1.5 years now, that the incumbency is growing, and a default anger is setting in. And with the new chief minister in place, that chief minister, by the way, is not a liability for the BJP. He is a future asset. I'm saying that. But unfortunately, he is right now too small to fill in the vacuum, to fill in the shoes of Mr. Yediyurappa. So that's the point which I am trying to say. And it's a routine anti-incumbency sentiment which is setting in. And also the fact that in the national narrative and other things that we are looking at, the news from the Karnataka have been the government news related to the BJP government in Karnataka have been making news more for the wrong reasons than the right reasons of late. So there is so all in all, if the public perception is big time for a change, or emotion is for anti-incumbency thing, that should not come as a surprise to anyone. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So let's bring up what your survey actually says about how people have responded to the Bommai government. It's very interesting. You call the chief minister a future asset, still a leader who's evolving, still a leader who's upcoming, not able to fill the large shoes of a Yediyurappa, and therefore not able to contain the anti-incumbency as, let's say, Yogi Adityanath was able to do in Uttar Pradesh. Now, this is what Yashwant Deshmukh's C-Voter survey finds when people were asked to rate the performance of the Bommai government. About 28% of people said it was good, 21 or rather about 22% said it was average, and an overwhelming majority said it was poor. That is the anti-incumbency that Mr. Deshmukh is referring to. Now, obviously, Kavitha, this is good news for you, but how do you understand it? How do you explain it? How do you respond to Mohan's point that there are other surveys that suggest a much closer fight? And what do we owe this to? Do you agree with Yashwant Deshmukh that these numbers reflect where regional politics is strong, where the Congress has encouraged a certain degree of autonomy to its state level leaders, it does better? How do you see this, Kavitha?
First of all, Barkha, irrespective what the opinion polls are saying, because it is positive, I shouldn't be talking only about one opinion poll. But the fact remains is, irrespective of the opinion poll, Deshmukh made a very important point. For the last 1 year, the trend has been the same, even within our own surveys also. The Congress party started its campaign way too early. Sometimes many of the journalists were telling that, you guys have started the campaign way too early, and can you sustain it? But we have been able to sustain our campaign for the last 1.5 years almost. And the kind of issues we are raising is, I think it's touching the people. The issue of corruption, the issue of price rise, the issue of misgovernance, the issue of law and order situation, the issue of unnecessary points which the BJP is making in terms of the administration. All this, I think, has been capitalized very well in our entire scheme of things, not only through our campaigns, but also through various programs. So we've done many things right. One is that the party strengthening, which is already there because the kind of structure we have in Karnataka. The second thing is the kind of programs we have put in, whether it is Bharat Jodo, whether it is Mekeda to Padayatra, whether it is a Pratigna, this thing, whether it is a digital membership, and also the campaign which we have taken up.
So may I ask you, because the Congress has also been ridden by a degree of factionalism between the Siddaramaiah and the DK Shivakumar camps. There is a great debate that goes on, right, even in the BJP about factionalism, point one. Then the other big debate that goes on is whether local politics determine state outcomes, or sometimes national factors are enough to overturn the direction of what goes on in state elections. In Karnataka, do you think this is a deeply local election, or do you think that you connected to Rahul Gandhi? And if you connected to Rahul Gandhi, why would Rahul Gandhi draw a reaction in Karnataka that, for example, he didn't draw in another state? Right? These are all complex questions.
No, I think the local elections in Karnataka are extremely localized. And of course, there is a huge sympathy factor for Rahul Gandhi, and the kind of response we saw in Bharat Jodo, it was not only in Karnataka, but even in other states also. Telangana, which we were not expecting it because our presence is very limited, but there also we got an extremely great response. But coming to your fact of that, the factionism which you're talking about, see, Barkha, even in BJP, there will always be some kind of groups, always camps within the political parties. And it's a democratic process. You cannot say that everything is fair, everything is right in every party. Of course, there will be difference of opinions. Of course, there will be their own team creations. But the fact remains is that out of the 224 seats, 124 number of candidates have been cleared without a single problem. Maybe there will be one or two discrepancies here and there, but 124 seats have been cleared right away without any problem. And We just have another 100 to go, out of which another 30, 40 will be announced in 1 or 2 days. So for us, the process of getting the aspirants and to become a candidate, and the entire process has been handled very well. There's a lot of involvement from the party leadership, from the AICC level also, whether it is our general secretaries, whether it is a party president who himself is from Karnataka, who understands Karnataka very well. So we have been able to sort of work it out in such a way that there is a process in place, and we are taking advantage where we have a first mover advantage. So our candidates are already decided. A lot of candidates, people from JDS and BJP are also coming in. That itself shows that yes,
Okay.
this is going to be a winning party.
Okay.
So there is a moment which is happening, and I think for the
Let
first
me
time
jump
we are
in.
getting everything right. But I'll put
Let
a
me jump
clause.
in.
We still have
Yeah.
40 days, and we will take every single day very seriously, and there will not be a lacuna which we did last time, and we got probably a little too arrogant last time, which is my judgment, that we got a little too arrogant, but I don't see that happening this time.
It's nice to
So
see.
we'll do
It's
it
nice.
till the last day of the last vote is done.
It's nice to see politicians and political people talk about mea culpas and possible arrogance and complacency. So good to hear that caveat. Now, you've spoken about factionalism. Before I come to Mr. Arun and go back to Yashwant, Yediyurappa, the big factor missing, as it were, from these elections, and Yashwant made the point that had he been there, could it have changed the outcome? Publicly, at least, he's putting on a brave face. He's talking about a majority. Let's listen in to Mr. Yediyurappa and then get Mr. Arun in.
My dear friend, we are going to get absolute majority in Karnataka, not only for our Lok Sabha also. We have won about 25 seats at present. Congress, JDS has one seat only. Next time also, under the leadership of Modi and Amit Shah, we are going to get another all 25 seats, Lok Sabha seats.
What if you fall short of the majority, sir? What if you fall? What will be your alternative? What will you exclude?
That question does not arise, my dear friend. We are going to get absolute majority, and what present we are having MPs, we get more MPs, and question of such thing does not arise.
So are the people really happy, sir, in view of the growing unemployment, price rise, and so
My dear friend, these type of problems, we have tried our level best to solve the problem. People are happy, please.
allegation by the Congress party and others, they are saying completely about the 40% commission at the PSC and post. There are many such
Because Congress are corrupt. When they were in the government, there are a lot of corruption charges are there, and we given complaint to the local also, you know very well. And this type of false allegation will not serve the purpose.
Okay, so that's Mr. Yediyurappa certainly batting for his party, at least publicly. We all know that internally, things are not as smooth. I'll get Mohan Vishwa to come in just a moment. I want to bring up another very interesting slide from the C-Voter survey, which talks about who is the most popular choice for the post of Chief Minister. And Mr. Arun, you can come in on this, and then we'll go around the panel again. Now, this is what the ABP C-Voter survey asked. And if you find, if you look at this is quite an interesting figure, because it's clear that Siddaramaiah remains the tallest and most popular leader amongst these contenders. Now, Mr. Yediyurappa is not one of the contenders, so there's no number on him. That's important to actually say. But Mr. Bomai doesn't have a poor personal popularity. He's only a few points behind Mr. Siddaramaiah. D.K. Shivakumar is in fact far behind. So I think that's the point that Yashwant was making, that it's not that Mr. Bomai is over. He's a future asset. Mr. B.S. Arun, how do you look at this survey? Do you agree with the trend it's showing?
I'm a bit surprised about Bommai, although Siddaramaiah doesn't come as a surprise. Bommai has been seen over the past 1 year to be a little, not very confident. He is leading a party government that is facing anti-incumbency. So, and then, the Yediyurappa factor, that he, succeeded Yediyurappa, but then he was no match for Yediyurappa. On the other hand, about Siddaramaiah, yes, he's a big factor for Congress, the main vote catcher. I know here the local leaders are important than I think Rahul Gandhi. So Siddaramaiah matters a lot. And mind you, he's from the Kuruba community, and this community has voters in every constituency in Karnataka, especially the MLA constituency. So that's a very important factor and a very big factor. As a chief minister, he hardly had any corruption allegations. The various, so-called bhagyas that he gave, the welfare programs have touched the people, I felt. But still the party lost. That's another matter altogether. So this, and I think Shiv Kumar also at 3.2 is a bit surprising. That's how I read this.
Yes.
And Kumaraswamy,
Yes.
would you like
So,
to?
yes, please go ahead.
Yeah,
On your,
Kumaraswamy, his party won't get majority, that's very clear. But then he can as well be the kingmaker as his party
he has
did
been
over the
before.
last 3 times.
As he has been before. So that is going to be my question to Yashwant. Yashwant, you heard the BJP spokesperson Mohan making the point that if the margin is not as wide as your survey suggests, if it is in fact a closer contest, then you can have any types of scenarios, including a Kumaraswamy throwing his hat into the ring. Also, speaking about Mr. Bomai's popularity, you see him as a future asset. B.S. Arun says no. Kavitha made the point about the elections being highly localized. If Yediyurappa had been in that list of popular contenders for chief minister, do you think those numbers might have looked different?
Slightly different. I mean, I think the gap between Bommai and Mr. Siddaramaiah, as I mentioned in the very first opening remark, that might have been closer. Till the point of time Mr. Yediyurappa was there on the list as the CM, he was holding about 36-37% kind of rating. After his resignation, and we started putting the name of the new chief minister, that held around 30% only. And in case of JDS, the 20%, 18, 19, 20% voting block, that's the kind of chief ministerial rating, and at the voting block, both go hand in hand as far as JDS is concerned. It's the core BJP support base which is taking Bommai's name, because after him, actually there are no bigger names, popular names in BJP as well. What I'm trying to say is that there could be, if there were other names popping up, Mr. Bommai's rating might have been around 20% only. But there are not other names. Other BJP names are coming really low as 1%, 1.5%. This is why more BJP supporters are right now rallying for him. Second thing, which is interesting to observe, many analysts I've seen that saying that post Yediyurappa, Lingayats are not voting for the BJP. That is not the case. Majority of the Lingayats in our tracker are still holding up with the BJP. Majority of the Vocaligas are still now going for the JDS, while during the 2019 Lok Sabha election, Barkha, big number of Vocaligas had shifted from JDS to the BJP. That is why the 26 out of the 28 Lok Sabha seats mandate had come. So what is happening is that there is a huge split vote, a swing vote, if you can say, from the JDS camp, which essentially is made up of anti-Congress votes. During the Lok Sabha election, a significant chunk of them has started shifting to the BJP, but during the local election, they have started going back to the JDS because they feel closer to the family, JDS and that family.
Yeah. So let me bring in Mohan ji of the BJP. Mohan, you made the point that there's a lot of time, that this context could be closer, that other surveys have suggested otherwise. But let's talk about what you think will be the critical factor in these elections. Kavitha made the point that it's a highly local election. First, I want your agreement or disagreement with that. Is this a highly local election, or is this an election where the Modi factor, as it has been sort of known to do in other states, could make a difference? This is a question that's really intriguing me.
See, Barkha, first of all, hardly we got 3.5 years of time to do administration. You know that we never get entire 5 years. In the 3.5 years, almost 1.5 years went for COVID. So out of 2 years, the kind of developmental activity that has happened in Karnataka is massive. Like, as you said, whether it is localized or the Modi factor, I do say it's both. That's why we call it as a double engine sarkar. If you see from past 10 months, the month of June 2022, if you take, where the Yoga Day, the Modi ji came to Mysore. From there, a lot of developmental activity inauguration started. It can be, the Bangalore-Mysore Expressway, the foundation stone laid down in 2018, got inaugurated in 2023. And also the IIT Dharwad, which got completed in 2 years. And also the Shimoga Airport, which got completed in 2 years. And Asia's largest helicopter facility, which got completed in 2 years. So these kind of developmental activities which conceptualize and which bring it together, both the Modi ji factor as well as the localized factor, that is where we are asking votes of the people. At the same time, the social engineering or the social justice in the form of the reservation, which was pending for decades, and people know that Congress will never do that. They were sitting with the Sadashiv Ayog report or for almost 9 to 10 years, which they never implemented. So those kind of social engineering, social justice also we did it to reservation. So these factors will definitely work for us. And also the Congress, this is what I said, because I don't agree with BJP is known for only negative news from past 10 to 11 months. That's not the case. So these are the positive developments which are happening. And the Congress and JDS came out loudly and they said, why PM is here in Karnataka every day? So those kind of statements they made, that means what? Even they know that PM is here for inaugurating the projects which got, foundation
And that
stone
is
laid down by the
and
same
that is
PM
actually
himself.
and that is actually
That
my
is
next question. Now, this is a
no, I'll
very
come. No,
important.
I'll finish
Yeah.
it off. I'll finish it
Okay.
off. As far as
Okay.
Congress is concerned, she said they're on a campaign from past 1 year. The question is it a positive campaign or negative campaign? So even today, the corruption allegation which they're making from past 10 months, they were not able to give a single complaint either to Lokayukta or to police or to ACB. And Lokayukta is open now, so they can give any complaint. They're not able to give. Post allegation, there were 3 assembly sessions happened, 2 in Bangalore, 1 in Belgaum. So Mr. Siddaramaiah or DK Shivakumar, they did not discuss the assembly session. They just want publicity. They will come out and they will sit in front of the media. They will show, the media cuttings only they will show. They don't have any basis for that. So that they never did.
Okay.
And as far as the last point, the guarantees which, the bogus guarantee cards which they're giving it today, people are aware that, they were not able to fulfill their promises in Chhattisgarh, Punjab, Rajasthan, okay, those places they are not able to fulfill. Even today, they're not able to fulfill. So that's why people of Karnataka will never build. So these factors should be considered. The people of Karnataka will
fair
definitely
enough.
vote.
Fair enough. Let me get the panel to respond. With the last slide from Yashwant's survey, what are the issues that matter? What are the issues that the people surveyed thought would actually swing or have an impact on the result of the election? And this actually makes for quite an interesting slide. I'm just waiting for it to come up. Major issues that voters thought would impact the consequences. The Lingayat issue and hijab row actually come right at the top, then religious polarization, then the Kaveri water dispute, then the Mumbai government's performance, and then nationalism and identity politics. So, Yashwant, I want you to quickly explain this, then Arun and Kavitha to come in that order. Please explain this. Please explain this set of findings.
Yeah, just very quickly, there are issues and then there are electoral issues. So we always ask the respondents, what are the issues according to them which they are facing in their life? And when you talk about those issues, the issues like infrastructure come up, the issues like unemployment come up, and those kind of things come up. And then we ask the people that, according to you, which issues are going to dominate the elections, dominate the thing? What do you think that elections are going to be contested on? And these are the issues which they say that this is where the election is going to be contested on. Whether or not these will be coming as the electoral issue, which will form the decision-making issue for them. That's a classical paradox of the people, because that's where sometimes the emotive quotient, sometimes the IQ and EQ, the tussle of the voters when they go into the booth, that's what happens. But yes, these are two chalk and cheese things, and that's why we map them in that way. But having said that, Barkha, what I feel that the issues of related to polarization are now saturating in a way that those who get affected by these issues are already well stretched in their respective camps, this way or that way. At the end of the day, it is the middle of the ground voter, which is the swing voter, and that is where it gets affected. Right now, it seems like they are more in anti-incumbent mood. But I agree with the some of the suggestions made by the BJP spokesperson that it's 6 weeks to go,
Yeah.
And we know that BJP's prime asset, prime thing is like, Narendra Modi coming and saying, picture abhi baki hai mere dost, wale andaz mein. And when that happens, that is something which is really, really interesting to follow in our tracking over the next 6 weeks.
Yes, and that is actually a question I want to throw up in the end. The national factors, are they totally missing? Can they still change the outcome? But I want to bring in Mr. Arun. Mr. Arun, do please go ahead. What do you think will be the critical factors? Do you agree with these findings in the way the voters that the C-Voter survey have surveyed have stacked them, or do you have a different take?
Barkha, there are 2-3 factors which we must consider. One is, of course, the 6 weeks to go for the elections. That's a very important factor. 6 weeks are a long time in politics. Number two, it's only last week that the BJP government came out with a modified reservation policy, and as per that, the scheduled castes who number about 20 lakh, that is nearly 20% of the votes, scheduled castes have been given the what is called the internal reservation. Of course, the one or two communities are agitating after that, but then today and yesterday, I think it has slided down. And in that, the Muslim reservation of 4% has been scrapped, and it has been given to Lingayats and Vakaligas and a couple of other communities. So, and third one is about the Muslims getting this in the other EWS category. So if we examine this, it's going to be one of the big factors, I feel, in the elections, because it affects a large number of people. And Lingayats who are seen to have been going away from BJP, especially because Yediyurappa was removed as chief minister. And then the Panchamsali sect of the Lingayats, a powerful sect itself within the BJP support base of Lingayats, had threatened to even vote against the government, against the BJP government. And now they have said that they're happy with this reservation policy. So this, these two factors,
could be an X factor.
Could play an important role.
That's a very important point, and I want Kavitha to respond to that. And I think that's the point that Mohan has been making, that we don't yet, maybe Yashwant will do another survey in another or track, the impact of this new quota policy, Kavitha, which, as Arun is saying, has proved to be popular among a community that was discontented or disgruntled rather and angry. Your response, Kavitha, before I take last comments. Kavitha?
I don't agree fully with what Arun said, because the reservation implementation, then they should have completely implemented the report, which they have not. So that they've done it bits and pieces, and there's already been disturbances happening from a particular community, which is the Lambani community, the Banjara and the Lambani community. That is one. I think for the people, I think when I saw the slide, it was like what the people are perceiving is what being told. But the fact remains is people are still bothered only about the price hike, the corruption charges, the kind of the kind of joblessness which has been created in the last few months, administration misadministration. So these are some of the issues which we are facing when we are speaking to the voters. And our BJP spokesperson said the guarantee card. Honestly, to tell the BJP spokesperson, on ground, people are actually wanting the guarantee card. They come to us and say, we want the guarantee card, including the BJP voters. And they tell that they're the BJP voters and take the guarantee card. So what BJP could not achieve, Congress has always been achieved, and we have stood by our word. If you see our manifesto of 2013, we have fulfilled all the promises of what we have made.
Ma'am, you don't believe that scrapping of the Muslim quotas and redistributing those benefits among the sort of scheduled castes and will change the outcome?
No, it is not, because the Karnataka people understand the fact why it is come in the last minute. See, they had a lot of time to do it, and the Sadashiv Ayog report was the Sadashiv Commission report was supposed to be submitted long ago, but we did not do it for the fact that there was a lot of discrepancies which we wanted to discuss with other communities. Because if you do it for one community, it's impact others. So you have to take everybody into confidence, which they have not done. So now what has happened is people have realized that it is a last minute ploy for the elections and nothing more.
Let me get Mohan to quickly respond to that, and then closing remarks with Arun and Yashwant. Mohan, do respond to that. Is the quota policy or the new quota policy your trump card, or you're hoping it'll be your trump card?
See, Barkha, the problem with the Congress is the Sadashiv Ayog report came in 2012. Please remember 2012, 11 years back. Post that Siddaramaiah was in power for 5 years, which never implemented. Then in 2018, there was a alliance government of the same Siddaramaiah and friends with JDS for 14 months. Even then, they never implemented. So even if they would have come back to power also, they will never implement. That's the fact. That's a frozen fact which everybody knows. And we have done it today, and we have given a social justice to everyone. There's no
Okay.
going behind that. And as far as the price hike and other stuffs are concerned, guarantee cards are concerned. So I want to remind my Congress spokesperson that, in Rajasthan, the petrol is 8 rupees more than Karnataka. In Karnataka, it is 100 rupees, there it is 108 rupees. And gas price is more in Rajasthan than Karnataka. And also unemployment rate in Rajasthan is 24%. In Karnataka is 2.5%. So the promises which they are not able to fulfill in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Punjab, I'm reiterating again, Goa. So they are not going to fulfill any promise. The people of Karnataka knows that. Let them implement and do something in other state which they were ruling. Then they come and let them give guarantee
Okay.
card. So
Okay.
nothing of that sort.
Okay, the two politicians have spoken. I'm almost out of time. Let's bring in the two analysts. Arun, if you were a betting man, do you think anything could change between now and the next 6 weeks? And let's talk in the end about national factors. We have known the Prime Minister to be able to swing the outcome of a state election, or at least change the margins such that a JDS then becomes a player. Is that still a possibility in your best assessment at this point, Mr. Arun?
I think it is a possibility, mainly because of this reservation issue, which came just about a week back. Most of the poll analysts may not have taken this into consideration. So this is a vital factor, and things may change in the next 6 weeks. If Congress really drives home the point of what Kavitha has been saying, that reservation policy has to be approved by Parliament. First, it has to go to Parliament, then it has to be added to the 9th schedule, so that it's taken away from the purview of the courts. So all these factors are there, but will the Congress really convince the people of this? So as of now, they don't seem to be doing this. So there's a lot between now and the elections, and also the factor of Modi. His 7 visits since January to Karnataka has been quite successful. A large number of people have been have been coming to his poll rallies. I mean his rallies. And from now on, it will be poll rallies. So far, it has been inaugurations and all that. And third factor will be Yadurappa. It seems that unlike what has been what was being discussed, Yadurappa, I think, has plunged himself fully into this election because of the confidence that Modi and Amit Shah have shown in him. You may remember that when he came last time to Shimoga, the airport was inaugurated, and it seems Modi insisted that it should be on Yadurappa's birthday. And it was done on his birthday. As well as another factor was, the Amit Shah factor, where he came to Yadurappa's house for a breakfast, patted Vijendra, his son. So all these factors, I think, have put
in fact, there's speculation that Mr. Yadurappa's son could be pitted against Mr. Siddaramaiah. So that is also something to look out for. Yashwant, in the end, I think Arun makes some very important points. The quota policy, the Modi factor, the Yadurappa factor. And I'll add a question of my own as I give you the last word. How do we understand a state election that seems to be at odds with what parties are going through nationally? Do we understand it then that some state elections are localized, or can this extremely localized election still be changed by the factors that Arun has just listed?
Well, I will start with answering your question first, Barkha. All the state elections, as per me, are localized. The BJP does have a very, very, very potent weapon of Prime Minister's popularity. But at the same time, people are also going for the split vote. That is why BJP gains from the dividend of 10 to 20 point votes when it is Lok Sabha elections. But as far as the Vidhan Sabha elections are concerned, people do, even after the high popularity of Prime Minister Modi, they do tend to vote on the local things. That is the prime reason that even in 2018, you remember BJP lost Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, even though in 2019 they won 25-0 in Rajasthan, 27-2 in Madhya Pradesh and so on. The split vote is in. People are splitting their vote for different layers. With Arunji, I totally agree that, this new thing which has happened in the last few days, this might have an impact. We'll keep a track on it. I mean, in our tracker, we have already had a question. We will know which way it is going. And 2 quick points, Barkha, that we did not talk about the infighting within the Congress in that way. Kavitha ji is absolutely sure that rank and file is behind everybody else, and Bharat Jodo Yatra had a role to play, because at least for the show, everybody was walking together with Rahul Gandhi on that thing, and that gave a fillip, no doubt about that. But there is a fundamental fault line, Barkha, which is clearly evident in the chief ministerial question. Mr. D.K. Shiv Kumar's ratings are like, okay, let me put it this way. Mr. Siddaramaiah is clearly 10 times, 12 times more popular than Mr. D.K. Shiv Kumar. But arguably, as we all know in the journalistic circles, it is Mr. D.K. Shiv Kumar who appears to be the central leadership's choice for the top post, and we know what happened in Rajasthan. Rajasthan Congress won on the mandate of Sachin Pilot, under the leadership of Sachin Pilot, but Rajasthan got somebody else as the chief minister. So that is something which probably we need to look into, and also the fact that while in the campaign, this unity which is right now sniffing the victory, it is looking at the forefront, but whether or not it goes down at the time of voting and at the time of putting the organizational behind each and every candidate to win. And last but not the least, one smaller factor, another one is the JDS thing, Barkha. Very interesting to observe that I mentioned that is the JDS vote and the BJP's thing, they go hand in hand because the core component is of the anti-Congress votes. But if the JDS goes down, the Congress numbers goes up. And if the JDS goes up, then the Congress numbers come down, and there is a very distinct possibility of a Hung Assembly in that case. So we need to keep an eye on the Mysuru region, how the campaign is building up over there, and if the BJP is kind of taking a third place conveniently in order to ensure that JDS gets higher seats on that plethora. That is a tactical setting we need to look into. And one final point, Barkha, Congress has developed an uncanny habit of snatching the defeat from the jaws of victory. We have seen this on so many occasions. And one thing which they must do is to keep this entire election focused on the local campaign, localized campaign. But I am already, since our poll came out, I am already sensing that the Congress narrative, many of the national spokesperson are taking it as if Congress is winning there because of Rahul Gandhi's spectacular performance as the leader. Whichever way, I fear that Congress will be tempted in the run-up to the election to make it more Modi versus Rahul Gandhi campaign. If that happens, that will open the door for the window to sleep. And BJP will be more than happy to gather that. But if the Congress somehow restricts and manages to keep the campaign local, not falling for the national way of narrative what their national spokesperson are building up, then they might say, they're safe and dry. So these are the things. There's a lot to watch out for.
Well, we'll have to leave it there, but two very interesting little tidbits there. One, the Congress tempted to make it national at a time when we don't even know what's going to happen with Rahul Gandhi's disqualification case. That would be a fatal error, according to Yashwant Deshmukh. The BJP quite happy to see the JDS strengthen because it would only cut in, as it were, to the Congress's performance, and then everything else, of course, can happen later if it is a hung assembly. So it isn't over till it's over. This is just first of many surveys that we're going to see. So that point is well taken from Mohan Vishwa. Thank you so much, everybody. Kavitha, Mohan Vishwa, to BS Arun, and of course to Yashwant Deshmukh as ever for his survey. To our audience, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.